Hi, I'm Tara Mustafa. I'm the CEO and founder of Code Coven, and I'm here today with Mismatched Games, the development team behind Detours. The team was part of our summer program 2020. And yeah, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having us. So yeah, we're Mismatched Games. My name is Kinsey. I use she, her pronouns, and I was our producer and did some design and programming work too.
My name's Roscoe. My pronouns are they, them, and I was Mismatched artist and animator.
I'm Samantha. My pronouns are she, her, and I was the writer and narrative designer.
Hi, I'm Plum. I use they, them, and I was the composer and sound designer on Detours.
I'm Autumn. I am they or she, and I was a general Unity programmer and gameplay designer.
Thank you for joining us today. Could you tell us a little bit about Detours?
Yeah, so a good summary is it's time to move across the country, and the only person with a car is your ex-partner. Suck up your pride and play through your trip and relationships, road bumps, obstacles, and detours. Witty dialogue and moments of quiet human connection are interspersed on a trip that reflect the oddities and struggles of Midwestern drives.
Yep. So Detours is a visual novel adventure game where you play as Daniela and you have to go through a really awkward road trip.
Sounds fun or awkward? Was it inspired by a real life event?
Oh gosh.
Okay, wait, how many of you have actually been on a road trip with your ex?
I think a core part
This is
of
not inspired by true events.
It's not.
Thank you, Autumn.
I mean, so when we were discussing like all the ideas for what Detours could be about, we had a lot of uncomfortable situations in cars, and in cars with people who don't necessarily make us super comfortable. Toxic friends, strangers, parents, just like really awkward drives. And we discussed the idea of being stuck in a situation where you have to talk to someone, because in road trips, what are you going to do? You can't really sit in silence for 13 hours. Well, you can, but that'll be really uncomfortable. So we kind of branched out from what we knew, and we picked an ex because that's really awkward. But then what was especially important was the timeline in which Daniela, the main character, and Mish, their ex, they broke up, because the timeline for that is, well, if they broke up last week, it might be very angry. And we wanted to make sure that we told a story that wasn't extremely upsetting to some readers. And so we picked a timeline of 6 months to a year, which was, I think, a pretty good time frame where you're away from someone that you were with for so long that you're starting to become your own person again, but you still have the uncomfortableness of, is there a friendship here? Is there a continuation of relationship? Not to get back together. We didn't want to make that a possibility, because sometimes when relationships end, they end for a good reason. But I think that, yeah, all of that to say is that, no, this wasn't inspired by true events, but we got to that way based on similar experiences.
How did you find that experience of being so honest about something that, I mean, I think it was a commonality that, you know, as you said, everybody has experienced in some way or form, but to be as part of the summer program in a team where you all didn't know each other, you know, to be thrust into this team and then to have to, or to choose to actually expose this vulnerability and these narratives, these stories, these experiences. What was that experience like for you?
I think we could each share something that might speak to us, but I know that was definitely a really big priority for us early in the development. Was we want to tell a personal story in a game, and we want to make something that's really rooted in like a very human experience. But we also want to do it in a way that's like very safe for us, because yeah, you're right. I mean, we didn't know each other before that first day of the program. So it was a good focus for us to try and create a space where we could share what we're comfortable with and have that vulnerability, but also that protection, and knowing that the whole team was interested in you know, doing things in a way that made us feel challenged as artists, but safe as people. If that makes sense.
I think a space like the summer program or Code Coven summer program, like it's really helpful for a project like this because everyone is going into it with like shared expectations. Like if you're queer or trans or whatever, whenever you walk into a room or like go into a new project or job or whatever, you're immediately like scanning the room, like, okay, who's cool, who's not, whatever. But when you go into the summer program, you're like, okay, this is the set of values, so no one's gonna come in here and being like, anyway, what's a gay person? So I think it's a bit easier to open up because you've already like you're all on page one already.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start being like, anyway, my queer experience, you don't have to like preface it with, by the way, I'm queer, and like you're already on like the second or third chapter of the queer experience TM or whatever. So it's a bit easier to like level with people and like explore these deeper, like more interesting queer stories, I would say, in a safer and funner way. More fun way.
Totally agree with that. I was honestly going to say something similar, but I also think that it helped that since we were all on like the same page to start with, we were able to build like our own values as well as a team. And like from the start, we were like, okay, we want to prioritize mental health. We want to make sure all of us are comfortable. We want to avoid crunch, and we want communication to be open and honest so this project goes smoothly. And it was partially about the project, but it was also like, you know, setting those things as important values for our team in the beginning helped us, you know, get to know each other more easily and feel more comfortable around each other. And you know, since everybody agreed on that to begin with, it was just really easy to become friends and to be open with each other. And it's really nice. It was a great experience.
Mm-hmm. And I remember you said you had a really poignant statement, I thought, at the end of in your final presentations that I loved, that I wanted to get printed on bumper stickers and put on cars everywhere. Do you remember what that was?
It was something along the lines of "We're gay and have love in our hearts."
That's what
I think
was
like our slogan. Yeah,
I think I
Yes,
said that as a joke, and someone was like, "We can keep that," and I was like,
like
"Wait,
that,
really?"
that was good.
it was.
Really
So could you tell me about the characters and how you came up with them?
I worked really closely with Roscoe, our artist, to come up with how we wanted the characters to look visually and how we wanted the story to be told. So Roscoe, if you want to say a couple stuff about like Mish's character and Danielle's character and how you came up with how they looked.
Yeah. So we went through several iterations of character design, and like Sam said, we worked really closely together because Sam had these really great character descriptions for both characters, not only in terms of like how they might look, but mostly in terms of their personalities, their backgrounds, and stuff like that. And I wanted the character design to feel connected to that. I didn't want it to feel like we arbitrarily slapped some facts onto these two drawings that I had made of people that just so happened to be there because they look nice. You know, and so yeah, there were a lot of conversations about like, you know, the characters, their style, their presentation in terms of like gender as well. And I think in the end we landed on something that feels real, I guess, since we were drawing from our own experiences. I think we were able to make characters that seem like real people that you would actually meet. So yeah, and I'm happy with that.
Just the way the stories were told, the feelings, the choices, you know, the little parts of exploration, you got the really sort of like rich feeling of the characters, and you could feel sort of the poignancy of, you know, it doesn't all have to be depressing, but it's highlighted with moments of humor and moments of, you know, to sort of like pull on that tension and to pull on that friction. How did you go about crafting those moments?
Yeah, this whole story, going on the topic of a broken relationship, we wanted to make sure that it wasn't just sad the entire way through. I think that especially with queer narratives, oftentimes in media, it's very traumatic, very tragic. These stories, and they don't have to be. And so we really wanted to make that change of this is a really unfortunate situation that they broke up, but it's also funny and awkward being together with someone who you haven't seen in 6 months or so, and to be like, hey, I kind of like hate being here and I want to move back home, but I don't know anyone because you brought me out here. So can you help me get home?
Thank you very much, Mismatched Games. It was a delight to find out about Detours. Can you tell me, okay, where can I get it?
You can get Detours on Steam and on itch, and especially on itch, you'll also be able to get our original soundtrack and an art book of the creation of the game.
Fantastic. Thank you
Well,
very
so
much,
much.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you.